Welcome to the video, Configuring Authentication on an Azure Function. In this video, we're going to describe what the authentication methods are for Azure Functions. We'll demonstrate where to find those authentication settings and show you how to change them. Here we are inside the portal, and we're looking at our function apps. We can look at the packed Serverless app. And notice here, I've added a couple of extra functions. The HTTP trigger was already there. I've also added a queue trigger and a timer trigger. Let's take a look here at the integrate for the timer trigger. And the timer trigger just has some trigger settings for how often it runs. The queue trigger has a specification for what the queue name is and which storage account to connect to. The HTTP trigger has an authentication key. We also have a mode, whether a standard or a webhook. The authorization level really only applies to HTTP triggers because these are the only type of triggers that are accessing the app directly. Everything else is triggering the app through an intermediary, whether that's a queue storage or whether it's a Cosmos DB or whether that is just a timer. Here are the different functions. You can see anonymous will not require a key at all. Function requires a key to be used, and admin requires specifically the master key for the function app. So outside of all the different functions, we've got the app itself. We can go ahead and discard those changes. You can see the function app settings, and here are the host keys. Now when you use an admin authentication, only this key triggered the application. Anything else will not be allowed. So that's the difference between admin and function. If you would like your function to operate like an API where it is driven through a route, then you can switch that over to anonymous. And through using the anonymous, the /API will be included in the triggering mechanism for your function app. Here I'll demonstrate what that looks like when we make that change from a function authentication to anonymous. First, we can see that the key for the function is here. But if we come down to the integrate and switch from authorization of function to anonymous, our function URL changes. The API is put in, and you can see that our API works perfectly. In this section, we really got into some of the settings for both the application and the function app itself. We talked about configuring custom domains and setting your SSL certificate, as well as configuring authentication for your functions. In the next section, I'm going to show you how to customize your serverless application.